To be going through these players' mind, there's got to be a lot of anticipation, maybe even some nerves.
Well, did you have to say exactly 1984? How about like 1980s? It's just, late 80s or something like that. But, honestly, Chris, once again, this is where your family kind of gets to be a part of the thing. You know where you're going. You know, the team you're coming to. You've had 48 hours to think about, okay, I just got drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. What am I going to do? Where do they need me? Where do I fit? Your mind is racing, but at the same time, you're meeting a lot of new faces. This is another big day. Your family get to be a part of it. We get to introduce you to all these wonderful young players that you're going to see play next year. All of that is a part of the whole draft event. It just keeps coming right on up till the Summer League. We'll talk about that a little bit later coming up next month. But for right now, it's all about getting to know these guys today.
Just a little bit of info leading you into this event. Sam Presti will be here. He will be addressing the media as well as the 4 new draft picks for OKC. It is set up behind us on the podium where their nameplates are standing, and we will be hearing from each of them as this media conference continues. But we'd also like to bring in the other half of our broadcast crew. We can't forget about them, Nick Gallo, Paris Lawson. They are also here with us. Nick, Paris, how are you guys doing this afternoon?
Doing great, Chris. Thank you so much. And you mentioned the 4 draft picks, the 2 first-rounders and the 2 second-rounders that the Thunder is bringing in. Paris, let's lead off by talking about Josh Giddey. I had the chance to be up in New York City at the draft and meet the number 6 overall pick, the guy that the Thunder nabbed there early in the first round, met him, met his family. An incredible guy, an Australian native, in fact, the Rookie of the Year of Australia's NBL League. What can you tell us about Josh?
Well, I can tell you he is a young player coming into this organization, only 18 years old, won't turn 19 until October, but he already has a wealth of experience playing professionally, and that's because he started playing in the NBL in Australia at just 17 years old. So he already has that professional experience under his belt. The other thing he has going for him is this rare combination of a high IQ at the size that he is at 6'9", touted as one of the best passers in this draft class. So this is a really exciting pick for the Thunder and a really high upside for Josh coming into this organization.
Incredible pick and roll player. He led the NBL in assists as a rookie. That's sensational. Had 3 triple doubles as well. This is a guy who continues to show flashes of being able to contribute on a lot of ends of the floor. One underrated thing too, he averaged over 7 rebounds a game. So at his size, that's kind of that point forward. Somebody that can do a lot of different things on the floor.
And make the guys around him better. This is something that Sam Presti talked about in his press conference after the draft. He has the opportunity to dish the ball and find open players, make the right play, make the high IQ play. And like you're talking about, with that versatility that he brings, he's just a basketball player. He can kind of do a lot of different things out there on the floor. So it should be really interesting to see him in action this season.
As I mentioned, I was able to catch up with him at the draft and had a nice little sit-down interview with him as well. Let's take a listen to what Josh had to say in the moments immediately after he was drafted.
This has to just be a momentous occasion for you. What did it feel like to hear your name called at the NBA draft?
I mean, it's surreal. There's a lot of emotions going through me right now, and to hear and see Adam Silver walk on the stage and call your name, I think I can speak for all the guys. It's just like it's a heart-stopping moment. I mean, you dream of this all your life, and you watch it on TV for so many years. For it to be a reality, and for me to be with the Thunder is it's a dream come true.
You got to share this moment with your parents. Tell us about them, and I think there's a little basketball lineage with them as well, right?
Yeah, my parents are both here, and my sisters. Parents both played professionally in the NBL and WNBL for a long time, so I had that basketball background growing up, and it was always inevitable that I was going to have a ball in my hands. Funny thing is, my sister actually goes to school in Oklahoma, which was she goes to Oral Roberts, which is about an hour and a half out. So parents are really excited about that, and hopefully the whole family can get over there soon.
The basketball bloodlines run deep. You mentioned the NBL. Just tell me about that experience playing in your home country in Australia. You had a fantastic first year over there.
Yeah, they were awesome. I mean, seeing LaMelo Ball and RJ Hampton come through that same program was big for me. It gave me confidence that I could go in there and do something similar. So, the NBL was big. I grew up watching it my whole life. My dad played, coached, mum played in it. So to be a part of that Next Stars program, I think was really special. And the opportunity I got in Adelaide to play, to have the ball in my hands from an early start was really beneficial for me.
So the 3 triple doubles, the playmaking, the passing out of the pick and roll. Is that really what you pride yourself on, or do you see yourself as a guy that can bring a lot of things all across the court?
Yeah, I think, being a bigger guard, I can be a bit more versatile. I can do a few more things, guard a few more positions. But playmaking and getting my teammates involved is something, I want to do and I love doing. It's what I think it's what I do best on the court. and it brings me joy to see my teammates succeed, and I love putting them in positions to succeed and being able to get them the ball in the right spots at the right time. So I think I can bring that to the Thunder, and I'm looking forward to playing with the group that the guys have.
That was Josh Giddey. He and his family, including his 3 sisters, one of whom plays at Oral Roberts University in Tulsa. They had a blast up there at Barclays Center. But Paris, the Thunder wasn't done there. 3 more picks, including number 18, Trey Mann. They got him in the first round as well. What can you tell us about this sharpshooter and what he continues to do as that sharpshooter?
I'll tell you the one thing that stands out to me the most, and we saw it after draft night. While a lot of players are celebrating and enjoying the time with their family, we saw Trey Mann getting in the gym in New York City after he got drafted. The timestamp on that was 12:45 a.m. on the East Coast. So you know he's a hard worker, and he's bringing that here to the organization as well. Did a really good job coming off a really strong performance in Florida his sophomore season. Put up some really big numbers, 16 points per game, a shifty, crafty guard. Should be interesting to see him in action.
Yeah, 6'5", a 40% three-point shooter, guy that has really deep range. That's definitely something that at the NBA level, being able to shoot off the bounce and shoot from long range is a really, really modern and prized skill, and he recognizes that as well. Paris, as we continue to talk about some of these players that the Thunder nabbed, let's move on to the second round. Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, he's a different type of player than Trey Mann is. Bigger, burlier, physical, 6'9". He's a guy that's a very cerebral player, according to Sam Presti.
And grabbed a lot of accolades during his time in Villanova, most notably, most recently, Big East Player of the Year. He's a guy, like you said, has a lot of size and can really do a lot of different things. Prides himself on that versatility. He can back down smaller players like you see right here, getting to the rim, but he also has the ability to play on the perimeter. So it's a really interesting pickup at number 32 for the Thunder.
And the Thunder traded the picks at 34 and 36 in order to move up to 32. Really wanted to make sure that they were able to get their guy there, and that's the whole thing. The whole reason that the Thunder has these draft assets is to be able to go get the people that they want, the guys that they think can flourish and grow and develop within this Thunder system. Robinson-Earl, he's just 20 years old. Another youngster that the Thunder got at the very tail end of the draft, number 55, that's Aaron Wiggins, and this is a guy that really maps out physically to be the type of guy that can play in this league. 6'6", an incredible standing reach, 36-inch vertical leap as well. Guy at University of Maryland who's been able to do a lot of different things.
And coming off a really strong performance in his last season at University of Maryland as well. In the last 12 games, he averaged right around 18 points per game. So he's coming off a really strong performance with the Terrapins. But like you said, he has that physical profile. He has this ability to be a two-way player and do a lot of different things, a lot of switchability with that size. So it should be really interesting to see how he plays out and how he develops with the Thunder.
All of these players are just getting into their professionalism. They're just trying to figure out how to be pros at this level. And the Thunder organization, well, they're one of the best in the entire NBA at getting these guys young and getting them involved in this development program to figure out how good they can possibly be. Paris, I know that we're really looking forward to meeting all of them here today. Until then, let's toss it over to Chris and Mike.
All right, thank you so much, Nick, and just a great rundown there on these 4 players that are going to be introduced and we are going to meet with at center stage. And Michael, as we bring you back in here, if there's one thing that stood out to me, and Sam Presti, Thunder general manager, mentioned this on Friday night in his press conference, this is 4 players with 4 very different skill sets.
And that's what you like. I mean, variety is always important. And whenever you're filling out a roster, and you're trying not to copy, and it's hard to not do that when some players just have similar games. But I think with this, the Thunder really have versatility. They have athleticism. They have playmaking. And of course, the number one thing is they're very young. And the Thunder, as well as anybody in the league, they do a very good job of developing their own talent. So player development is very big with this team. I think they're going to benefit from that, the coaching staff, and of course the history of how they've been able to develop their own drafted players.
Well, there's so much that goes into it. The talent is one thing, but also fitting into the Thunder environment. This is a 2-part process of the draft. You've got to obviously have the talent and have certain skill sets, but then fitting into the Thunder environment to grow and develop, which is such a big part of this organization, is just as important.
That's right, and I think that's where the cooperation between the player and the coaching staff as they start to have practice time. I mean, today kind of starts it all. A little, hello, how you doing? Welcome to Oklahoma City. And then from that point on, you start working. You got the Summer League coming up next month. We'll talk about that, how important that'll be. Training camp coming up the end of September. All of these things to bring you closer to the team, get you comfortable being in your new environment. And, of course, the most important thing is, getting a player the best opportunity to be successful in this league.
When you got drafted, when did you start feeling like you had to get in the gym and start working? Because Trey Mann did it right after he heard his name called, as Paris said, there on Thursday night.
Well, you like that too, because when you come out of college, sometimes when you're working, you've been in a year or two, or sometimes you're so talented, the game gets a little easy, and you start to say, hey, I can play this game. But when you step up to the next level, it changes. All of a sudden, there's a lot of guys 6'9", a lot of guys 6'5", athletic. That's where the work comes in. That's where I think, guys understanding the task at hand. And I know they all understand it because, getting to the NBA is one process. And then the other process is becoming a player as you did in college. And I think that's where the challenge is for the player as well, because we all pride ourselves on just being the best we can possibly be with what's in front of us. And, of course, when you're a young guy coming into a young franchise like this, it's a big, big plus because you're going to get some playing time.
And that's just it, really. It comes down to the opportunity. And I think that there's got to be some relief involved mentally, at least for players, knowing that they're going to have an opportunity to go and compete in training camp, get better, and essentially carve out an NBA career.
Well, I think for a young guy, it was different for me. When I was drafted, I was drafted to a veteran team. So I didn't really get a whole lot of playing time. I didn't expect it, even though I was a lottery pick. It's a little bit different here. You work your way into whatever you want, your playing time. You saw it last year where a lot of guys got playing time, didn't expect it. The roster, that was there at the beginning was not there at the end. Great opportunities for guys who won't be there next year that other teams saw. Well, this same group comes in this year the same way, where they're going to get that, you're going to get that opportunity to play basketball in the NBA right off the bat. And it's all predicated on your hard work. And I like how guys are talking about already about working hard and getting ready for that challenge.
I think back to when I was 18 years old and trying to maybe carve out an NBA career. That just doesn't seem all that easy to me. I'm not going to lie.
It's not. And I think that, with the whole process of what you're seeing today, with the guys coming in today, this is more of like, let's get to know each other. This is where my home is going to be. This is my best friends, my teammates, my coaches, the fans, everybody talking to the media. So this really kind of pushes away a lot of mystery about the NBA for a lot of young people.
Did you get a little media training before your first interview with the media?
You get a little bit, but the media is always so different in every city. The NBA media is totally different than college basketball, but it's the same. You certainly want to make a good impression. And I think that when you saw Nick and Paris talking to these guys, you saw how easy and comfortable they were already in front of the camera.
It's certainly a different experience, especially for maybe an international player, Josh Giddey. We're going to get a chance to hear from him today, the number 6 overall pick coming from Australia, going to a different country. That process, that assimilation, definitely something new, but he was as excited as anybody that I saw there on draft night on Thursday. His excitement was palpable.
Well, and when you get drafted as a 6th pick, it's always, now I'm sure it's a surprise for everybody. It was a surprise for me when I was a lottery pick. So when you get to be a lottery pick, it's always a great honor, something that you say, okay, a lot of people believe in me. And now I want to go out and show them why they did that.
And just proving your worth in the NBA and getting that chance. All 4 players certainly going to be starting camp. Camp will start toward the end of September 28th, the tentative start date there with camp getting going. And then, of course, preseason will start on August 4th. That is at least the first scheduled preseason game for OKC. Summer League will get going in August. That's expected to be back again this season. I know we're all looking forward to that and an early opportunity maybe to potentially see some of these young players.
Well, a lot going on. You got drafted Thursday night. Here it is Saturday afternoon. You're meeting your new teammates, your new players, coaches, staff for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then it just keeps going. All of a sudden you got the Summer League coming up pretty quickly. You start training, you start practicing, getting ready for that. And then it just rolls over into training camp and then the season starts. So really, a lot going on in these young guys' life, but a lot that they've been expecting. I mean, it's not, basketball, once it's thrown up, it's a 94 by 50-foot court. You know that, and you're ready for that as well.
All right, we are expecting the players to join us here momentarily. Sam Presti, Thunder General Manager, as well, here in the 2021 draft press conference, as the NBA draft was on Thursday night, culminating a big weekend for OKC and a big weekend for the NBA. All that anticipation, all that emotion coming to a head over the weekend. And so all 4 draft picks are here in the building, Paycom Center, getting their first taste here of Oklahoma City. With Michael Cage, I'm Chris Fisher. So we continue to await their arrival. As you see the stage there set up with the 5 names and the nameplates there propped up as the media has assembled. And we hope to have them coming here sooner rather than later, as they're still making their way over here inside Paycom Center. And Michael, we've been waiting for this. I know that you were looking at the draft and the lead up to the draft and everything that goes into that. And if you're a player and wondering where you're going to end up, just finally having a little bit of certainty and knowing where you're going to go, that's got to be calming to the nerves.
Well, it's like, getting ready for a game. All of a sudden you say, okay, just get ready for the game. We don't know who you're going to play. Okay, so now you know that. You know that now. And I think for the guys coming in, who you're going to see here in a couple of moments, just getting familiar. Wow, Oklahoma City. Wonderful city, lot to see here, lot going on, being a part of that family. Now, they haven't seen the fan base. The fan base is tremendous here. There's a lot of such, what I would call, encouragement, support from our fan base. They haven't even seen that yet. Of course, that's something that will come later. But they got a lot to look forward to. I mean, you're now in the city where you're going to play, and this is where you're going to live. This is where you're going to make your home. This is your job, and you understand all of the what I would call requirements, all of the commitment that's involved with that. But you're also living out your dream. You're a professional basketball player. You've shown that you can play. You can play at a level where teams draft you and put you in this position, and you don't have anything to prove. You just play the game now. You have fun. You keep developing, because you got to realize these guys are going to develop over the next couple of years. We know the Thunder coaching staff, their history has always been big on player development. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
All right, let me ask you a question, Michael. Going back to your time as a young player and getting drafted, what was the first moment you realized, okay, I'm no longer a college player, I've been drafted, now I'm in the NBA?
Well, for me, it was training camp, because I did what you're going to see, the guys doing today, where you get drafted, 48 hours later, you fly to the city that drafted you. Everything is just coming at you so fast. And you're going to hear us say that a lot of times on air about these guys. And a lot of times when young players talk about the NBA, the game goes, it's coming at them really fast. They're waiting for it to slow down. It's kind of what's happening now. But what I really like most of all is their families get to be a part of this. The families got to be a part of the draft night. They get to be a part of this afternoon, seeing where their sons, their relatives will play, for the next couple of seasons or more. And I think it makes the whole family environment that the Oklahoma City Thunder, place such a value on. It right away introduces them to that whole concept of family. It's not just about basketball, but it's also, there's a brotherhood here where they're going to meet their new teammates. They're going to start practicing with them in the next couple of weeks. I think that's going to be a whole nother level of coaching, a whole nother level of development. I think you're going to respond to it a lot quicker than college, because college is so limited as the time that they can spend training with these guys. There's not a whole lot of limitations right now with young guys, especially when you're trying to prepare for next month's summer league.
Well, it's interesting because you hear guys say, I've been working really hard preparing for the draft, and I'm looking forward to get drafted. But now the real work begins, because now you got to prove yourself, and you got to come into a new NBA team, a new NBA environment. And like you said, you've got new teammates, you've got new surroundings, and sometimes it can hit you at different speeds. and that's when the real work begins.
Well, I like it when guys get here early in the summer. You get to spend a little time here before training camp, before the summer league next month, just to check out your new digs, because it's a lot going on, man. You gotta find a place to live. You gotta buy a house if that's what you want to do right away. There's a lot going on for a young player, and that's where I think the support of their families, the support of the team, and helping them make that transition.
All right, Sam Presti, the general manager of the Oklahoma City Thunder, as well as the 4 new draft picks making their way center stage, where they will be addressing the media and welcoming to OKC. And we will send it to Matt Tumbleson, the Vice President of Communications for the Oklahoma City Thunder, who will get things started here inside Paycom Center.
All right. Welcome, everybody, today. How's everybody doing today? Everybody good? Terrific. I want to welcome you to Paycom Center today for the introduction of the Oklahoma City Thunder's 2021 draft class. It's a super exciting day for us. Today we're going to have an opportunity for the media to speak to Sam and our players. Before we get going here, I want to acknowledge some community members who we have here today, some real community leaders with some of the great community organizations that we have on a day-to-day basis. They do an amazing job for us. They, especially during the pandemic, have just helped our community get through to this point. So I want to acknowledge we have someone from the Boys and Girls Club here today, the Latino Community Development Agency, the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma, Urban League of Greater Oklahoma, Cleats for Kids, and the YMCA of Greater Oklahoma here today with us. They've been here, had their own little draft experience today, so it's been a super fun thing. They're here in the front row, so I hope you guys enjoy the day. For the media, if you just want to raise your hand, we got a mic on that side. We also have some people on Zoom that we can try to get to as well. And as we get going, Sam's going to have some opening comments, and then we will open it up for the group. Thanks a lot.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's really special to be all in one place and together, especially on an exciting day like this. We're introducing new team members to our organization. First and foremost, just want to welcome the families and friends of all of our new players. And obviously, this is an exciting day for them. It's the end of a journey, but really the start of a brand new journey, and something that hopefully will be fulfilling for all the hard work that each individual has put into this point. I'll keep my comments brief. I just want to say that this is the conclusion of the 13th year and the launch of a 14th year in Oklahoma City, and we've had a lot of players that we've drafted over the course of time, and each one of the guys up here today bring different and unique things to the table, both as players and people. But there's one common theme that I think has been pretty transcendent through the course of time of all the draft classes and the players we've tried to bring in. And I really think that this group really embodies it as much as anyone we've had, which is this is a very, very hard-working group of guys. This is a group of guys that, as I said before, have dynamic talents, different skills, different approaches, come from all over the world, but they have one thing in common, which is they know how to work and they know how to put time in, and they understand how to play for one another. That's going to be really important for us as we continue to build our team and continue to make progress toward the ultimate goal of sustaining excellence in Oklahoma City. But it's been those traits that have really helped us because they're the embodiment of the type of values and the things that are really important to the people in Oklahoma. And as I said before, we draw a lot of our inspiration from the people in Oklahoma. So hardworking, values-based, high character. We want to be representative of that. And I think this group of people, as you get to know them, will resonate with you both on and off the floor. So with that, I guess we'll open up for any questions.
Go to Kenny in the front, please. Go ahead. Kenny, up to Kenny.
Sam,
Hold on, Kenny, let's get the mic, please. Kenny.
We're back in the swing, man.
That's right, we're getting back into it.
no days off. First of all, Sam, when you were looking at going into this draft class, what were some of the things or attributes you really wanted to pick up, and what did you see in each of these players that allowed you had a pretty good class?
Well, I think, we've been through, as I said before, several of these in the past, and you never know how they're going to go as the draft unfolds. But we draft people first and players second, And each one of these individuals, I think, really hit the marks for the type of people that we want to have in our building for two reasons. One, they have the ability to plug into our environment and I think amplify their talent as a result of that. And they're willing to do that. And the values of our organization resonate with them. The second thing is, as they get embedded and assimilated, I think that they will make us a stronger organization themselves because of the talents that they bring to the table, both on and off the floor. So you're looking for, my opinion, Mike, a mutually beneficial environment. And when you have something like that, that's where people can really optimize themselves and grow. And one thing that we want to pride ourselves on is like we want a place that everybody's pulling together towards individual and collective improvement. And, you know, through our time with each one of these guys, we felt like they were fits for what we're trying to build, not just in the present, but also over time.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Hey, this is Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma, and I actually wanted to ask this of Trey, Aaron, and Jeremiah. We know that Josh spent draft night in New York at the Barclays Center, but could each of you just give us a little idea of what your draft night experience was, who you were with, and when you get the call, just talk us through what your thoughts were about coming to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun. I was able to spend it with my whole family, just people that I've been around my whole life who helped me get to this point. So I was with them most of the night. And then I didn't actually get the call. They called my agent, and then my agent told me. So, you know, I was just on the couch just hanging out. And then when he told me, I ran to the other room with the rest of my family, and then we waited with the cameras and recorded, and then we just started celebrating. So it was a great night for me.
For me, you know, we kind of reserved out this really nice restaurant. I was home in North Carolina with family and close friends, people who were a part of my journey and me getting to the point where I am. And I mean, it was just an amazing feeling when I got the call, knowing that you know, Oklahoma City, Sam just believed in me and wanted me in this organization. So I'm extremely grateful and happy to be here.
Yeah, it was a great night. I was in Chicago. We were at a steakhouse in a back room. Had some family, just people close to me that have helped me to where I become who I am today. It was a great experience. Same with Trey. My agent got the call, so I was just out there with my family and friends. And then once Ron told me that the Thunder were going to pick me on the 32nd pick, I was just ecstatic, and we were just able to celebrate, have a great night. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to come here and work.
Oh, we got another. Sorry. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Joe Masato, the Oklahoman. Josh, did you work out with the Thunder before the draft? And on draft night at number 6, did you have any idea that your name might be called at that spot?
I did, yeah. I did work out with them, but come draft night, I was unsure. I had a good feeling about Thunder when I left the workout and after I met with Sam and the other front office people. But I mean, I didn't know nothing until my name got called. So. No, to answer your question, no, I didn't know before Adam walked out on stage and called my name.
Yeah, Andrew Schleck from The Athletic. Josh, I have a couple questions for you. What are your impressions of Oklahoma City, just being here for the short time that you've been here? And then you played point guard primarily for the Adelaide 36ers. What do you see your fit being in the NBA? Is it point guard? Is it on the wing? You know, how do you envision yourself in the NBA?
Yeah, first impressions of the city's awesome. I mean, the fan base, the people in the organisation, the city as a whole has been great welcoming us. You know, I think I speak for all the guys when I say it's a class organisation and the fans are, you know, first class. So that's been great. And then in terms of being a guard, I mean, obviously being bigger allows me to play a few more positions, be a bit more versatile on the floor. So whether I've got the ball in my hands or, you know, as you know, we've got guys that can handle the rock on this team, so I'm going to have to learn to play off the ball as well. So it's going to be, you know, adjusting to who we have on the floor, and I'm sure that'll be, you know, it won't take too long for me to, you know, work with the ball or without the ball.
Nick Crane, Forbes. This one's for Trey. You grew a couple inches between your freshman and sophomore season. Brings a natural question: are you still growing? And then, regardless, you know, what was that like freshman year versus sophomore with that extra size?
I mean, my mom and dad are pretty tall, so hopefully I'm still growing. I haven't went to the doctor lately, so hopefully I'm still growing. But yeah, that couple inches that I grew over the summer helped out a lot. But honestly, I think what helped me the most, as far as being more comfortable and being able to play I wanted to play for my sophomore year, was gaining the weight. I put on about like 15 pounds, and I just felt more comfortable, being able to get to the rim, playing my game on offense and defense. So I say the weight gain helped me out more.
Hey, Ryan Chapman, SI. This one's for Sam. You talked during, I believe it was the pre-lottery press conference, about the struggle of everyone trying to evaluate this talent in the pandemic. Is there an extra layer of that when you're evaluating an international guy like Josh? Like, how much more difficult was that for you than normal?
Well, I mean, it's challenging, but same challenge for everybody. I have a funny story about that. So I went down to the G League bubble this year, and we had a quarantine. And I was down there with our with our blue team, and so I had 4 days to sit in my room, and that was the first time I really dug into a lot of his film. So by the time I left my room, I had a pretty good feel for him, I think, because I'd piled up a bunch of games, and I sat in there, and that was very helpful because it was just like so consistent. And then we talked to a lot of different people, spent time obviously with him. The first interview we had with him was in Chicago, and I believe you had flown that overnight. Yeah, so he literally flew from Australia, got off the plane in California, flew to Chicago, right to the meeting with us. So I was actually shocked that he was still awake in the interview, and he was probably shocked that we still wanted to come out and work him out because he was so tired at the time. But yeah, so we spent enough time, but I feel comfortable with the way that the process went, and at the end of the day, the process led to him at that position.
Yeah, this question is for Trey. One of your main skills is shooting the ball off the dribble, from deep. What players do you look up to in the NBA? Who do you model your game after?
A couple players I look up to are guys like Stephen Curry, Trey Young, Damian Lillard, those guys who are able to, shoot off the dribble from deep. I try to take a little bit of everybody's game and add it to mine, those same type of players. But I just feel like I'm my own player. So at the end of the day, I'm going to come in and do what I feel like I do best.
This is for Jeremiah. Sam described you the other night as just tough, physical, cerebral. What are some of the things that you're trying to bring to the game and ways in which you think you can impact things?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in defensive rebounding, and I feel like at Villanova, those are two things that Jay Wright takes a lot of pride in. So I feel like those are two things that have got me to the position where I am today, and I just love to work. So, I mean, just coming in, being able to work, play on the defensive end, and just do what leads to success for the team, just all the little details.
Yeah, Josh, with both of your parents having played professional basketball, I'm just wondering what impact did that have on you and how did it sort of shape your basketball journey?
Yeah, it was big. I mean, obviously, I grew up from a young age with a ball in my hands, just having my family and my parents so heavily involved in the game. And then, when Dad retired, he came into a coaching role straight away. And so ever since I was little, I've always been around, holiday camps and trainings and games and stuff. So been involved with the game for a long time from a young age. So it was kind of always inevitable that, when I was 2-3 years old, I was always going to have a ball in my hands. So they've been big for me, coaching me right through my junior career. And giving me the knowledge that they've had over their long careers. It's been really beneficial for me.
Did you ever consider playing college basketball in the States? Maybe you can confirm this for me, but I saw that you had a reported scholarship offer from the University of Oklahoma. I was just wondering if coming over here was ever an option versus playing professionally in Australia.
It was. I mean, at one point I was really set on it. I took a visit to Colorado University, and I came back from there, and I was ready to sign there, but I came back home and I just changed my mind. I guess I, started watching the NBL, and with the Next Star program that they put in place, it was something I wanted to be a part of. I was familiar with the league. I got to stay in Australia, and stuff like that. So it was a tough decision at the time, but looking back on it, I think I made the right one, and I'm happy with it.
This is for Aaron, Daniel Bell from Black Sports Online. Your bread and butter in college was the mid-range game. With the way the NBA is trending with that going out of style now, do you see that continuing? And then why do you feel like that's one of the areas that you worked on the most?
I mean, that's just a part of my game. It's something that I continue to work on, and even though it may be something that's trending downward in the NBA or even wherever it is. I mean, it's a part of my game, so it's something that I always have. I think I have the ability to shoot the outside ball outside of the three, and I mean, just regardless of how things are trending, I'm going to play my game and play it confidently. So.
Yeah. Also for Aaron, just what was the feeling? You had mentioned earlier, the feeling of being wanted in this organization. Just at pick 55, what was going through your mind as you got drafted and you saw your name across the screen and all that?
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, when it got to the 50s, I started to get a little worried. I was like, what's going to happen? But I never lost faith. I always had hope, and I really knew that there were teams that were interested in me regardless. So once I got the call, knowing that OKC was interested in me, I was super excited and just grateful for the opportunity. So like I said, I'm happy to be here.
Myron Patton, Fox 25 here in Oklahoma City. It's for Josh and Sam. The unknown, because you play in Australia, is for the average basketball fan, they don't watch the NBL. What do they expect to see out of you? And Sam, you can hit on that as well.
I'm sorry, in terms of what
for the average fan, what kind of game can they expect to see out of
I'm going to let you
Josh?
answer that. It's you.
All right. Yeah, well, I mean, it's tough for fans to watch the NBL, obviously, being in another country. But I think I'm a bigger playmaker. I think the thing I do best is pass the ball and love getting my teammates involved, putting them in positions to succeed, sacrificing myself for the team's success. So, I've always been a pass-first guy, but obviously being bigger, as I said earlier, I can rebound, get out in transition, make plays. So that's my game.
Myron, can I just add one thing to that? Because it kind of doubles down on the question I was asked earlier, which is there was so much basketball that he played at such a high level overseas. That really helped us in our evaluation because that's a really, really good league and one that has produced some NBA players recently. So you have a little bit of a barometer, even in a year where there's a lot of college teams that had broken up seasons and played less games than normal. So I think that was really helpful actually in our evaluation overall, just knowing that level of that league and the way that Josh was able to impact it.
Yeah, Andrew Schleck from The Athletic. Question for Aaron. You played with Jalen Horde. What did he tell you about his experience with the Thunder and maybe what it would be like once you got here?
Yeah, that's been my guy since high school. We're really close. Actually, when I came up here for a workout before the draft and everything, I was able to see him and we were able to talk a lot. And he was just talking about, how personable the staff is and how, just the organization is really welcoming and they care about more than just basketball. So knowing that, you're in an organization where, the only thing isn't basketball that matters, but at the same time, you have to, do your job. I'm just excited to be a part of it all. And I know Jalen loves it. So just looking forward to, seeing him and being able to play.
Brandon Rabar from Daily Thunder. Don't worry, Josh, I'm not going to ask you any inappropriate questions. I actually was wondering how you feel your fit is with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Everybody knows that you're a great passer. He's a great scorer. So how do you think the fit is between you and SGA?
I love it. I mean, when I was in Australia, I didn't really play with another, point guard. I was kind of had the ball in my hands, 90% of the time, just because our 2 and 3 were just so non-ball, dribbling the ball. They were more spot-up guys. So playing with a guy like Shai's, I'm really excited for, and obviously it takes the pressure off me to handle the ball all the time. So, I'm really excited. He's obviously an all-star level talent, young guy as well, bright future in the league. So I think playing with him is only going to enhance my game.
Josh, it was a kind of a short stint, but your time playing the Olympic qualifiers, what did you learn with that experience and just being around some of those NBA guys?
Yeah, it was big for me. I mean, regardless if I made the team or not, it was just to be in that environment early, compete with the NBA talent that we had. And I'm hoping 15, 20 years down the line that I'm still going to be a part of this program. So to get a taste of it at 18 years old and to be able to learn from the NBA vets we have and then the rookies as well, so to hear their perspective on the league at both ends of the scale was really beneficial. And then, the world-class coaching staff that we had on that team was really good for me as well.
Murray Evans from the AP. Sam, you're gathering quite a collection of long international playmakers. who like to pass the ball around. Is that kind of where you see the game going these days?
No, I mean, I think that for us, if you look at each one of the guys that we have up here, like I said earlier, they're all different in how they play, and each one of our guys on the team is different in how they approach the game. But I do think the ability to anticipate and really process the game quickly is important with the way that the defenses are today and the way the game is officiated and just the pace of the game. So, each one of these guys really, I think, does a good job of anticipating it. I have instances of watching each one of them in different ways in terms of how they do it. It could be defensively, it could be setting screens, it could be pursuing rebounds, it could be, thinking ahead or pitching the ball up the floor, just the way they play angles. I think that's important, and obviously for us as a team, the way that Mark wants to play and the way that a lot of our existing guys play, like we just want to play good basketball. At the end of the day, you've probably heard me say that on draft night. Part of good basketball is playing together, anticipating where your teammates are going to be, on the floor and putting each other, as Josh said, putting each other in position to be successful. And that doesn't just mean with the ball. It could be just body movement, player movement, spacing. And we're really looking forward to see how these guys blend together and how they assimilate with the rest of the guys on the team. It should be exciting.
This is for all four players. First of all, what do you think of this Oklahoma Heat? Hopefully you're used to it by now. And then second, what does this moment mean for you and your family to be able to get to the NBA to this point and just to see them here be able to enjoy this with you?
I agree. I mean, the Heat, not nothing to me. I mean, I grew up in Florida, so I'm used to it already. I like the Heat, so. But, this moment means everything to me, especially that my family are here with me. They were here this whole way, the whole process. So I'm just seeing them out here and seeing them on draft night, them crying, hugs, talking to me. I think that's a blessing. I'm not going to take any of it for granted.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the same deal. In terms of the Heat, I've always been a Heat type of guy. I like the warm weather, so nothing that I have any problems with. But I mean, it's just an amazing moment. It's everything that a kid dreams of. Growing up, hearing your name called in the NBA draft, and then knowing that you're with an organization and you have the opportunity to just develop and become a better player. So I'm really excited. My parents sacrificed a lot for me to be in a successful position years ago. So I'm really excited. I know they're really proud of me and my entire family. It's just crazy to be a part of. So.
Yeah, so I'm from Kansas City, so I'm right up the road, so I've gotten a little taste of this kind of like Oklahoma Heat before, so I love it. Gonna keep embracing it every day, but yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful to be in this position today. I mean, gotta thank God first. Without him, I definitely wouldn't be in this position today, and also my mom, she sacrificed so much for me, so I just want to bring it back for both of them, and I just love the opportunity to be in OKC and just being able to work with these guys every single day and become the best team and players we possibly can be.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, the heat's good. I mean, we don't get this in Australia too often, so it's nice to have. But the family part's big for me because I think when you look back at your time, growing up playing juniors, they have such a big part in it. Driving you around, sacrificing their time for your time, and I mean, you can never repay for what they've done for you, and to have them, enjoying this journey and going through the pre-draft process with you is really important, and I think they deserve this moment just as much as us players do, and it's good to have them there on draft night and to be there and celebrate with them.
Yeah, this is for Trey. Josh was just asked this, but something similar to you. Like, what is your comfort level playing on or off the ball, especially next to a guy like Shea?
I feel very comfortable playing both. In college, I played a lot more on ball, but growing up, I played both. I played with my best friend, Terry Ivory, for my whole life, and he was the main ball handler. And, I just feel like I'm versatile, so I can have the ball in my hand, make plays with it in my hand, and off the ball as well. So I just feel like I'm versatile enough to help on both sides, whether that being on the ball or off the ball.
And one more, if I can. Sam, just specifically, how do you see the fit of Josh next to Shea? And like you were saying, having all of those ball handlers on the floor.
Yeah, I think he hit it. I'd agree with him. At his size and the ability to process the game and see the game, I think he's a basketball player more than anything. And that's kind of where I think the game is more or less based on the talent that you have on the team. And I think it's also a credit to Shea because of the way that he approaches the game. You know, he makes it possible for us to kind of envision the ability to play a really team-based game where the ball's moving and there's multiple people making decisions, you know, simultaneously with or without the ball. So I think it's a great fit. I think that you know, everybody's going to have to put their work in. I think all the guys at the table here realize that it's not going to be easy to earn opportunity, and the NBA takes time to assimilate to, and you know, you have to scratch and claw as a team, as an organization. That's for sure. But that's why they're up here, is because they've been able to prove that they've been able to do that to this point. And you know, we're betting we're not drafting them for who they are. We're also drafting them for who they're going to be over time. And I'm confident that they'll be able to persevere through whatever challenges that they face.
Hey, Sam, I wanted to ask you, there was a perception over several years of you guys going after guys that were super athletic, super long. Not to say these guys aren't that, but to hear you talk about, you know, recognizing defenses and just the skill level that some of these guys that we've seen out of them, are you seeing a shift in just how you're looking at draftees in terms of how you're valuing maybe some of those cerebral skills or that skill development level that they're at?
Not necessarily. I think the main thing to realize is, like, over the course of time, we've been fortunate enough to be here for over a decade. So it's kind of similar. I explained this to someone earlier today. It would be like saying I grew up in Massachusetts and in Concord, where the Revolutionary War started. So it would be the equivalent of like asking why the Minutemen didn't call the Air Force in. You know, like the game has changed, but like at the time in which we were probably a bigger, longer athletic team, we were probably more the norm of the entire league. And there was one or two teams that, as there always are, kind of pushing change in different ways. You know, one of which being the Spurs and the Warriors at the time. But everybody else, you know, you have to play to the strengths of your team and your best players. And for us right now, I think we have such a blank canvas. We've predominantly had over the course of time and been benefited by some truly amazing Hall of Fame level players that had really definitive games and how they played, and they've helped us achieve the second best record in the NBA over the last 10 plus years. But now we have a brand new opportunity in front of us. And that's, to me, like one of the most invigorating things for us as an organization, and also as a community, is one, you know, who we want to be and how we want to get there, but enjoying that process. And a big part of that is, you know, watching these guys grow and develop, and hopefully we'll be breaking new ground, not just for our team, but also trying to figure out how to play the best basketball and push the league forward as well.
This is for Jeremiah. When we think about guys from Villanova like Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Kyle Lowry, and we think about how hard they play on every single possession, and I've seen the tape, that's how you play. So how much are you looking forward to continuing that tradition of Villanova guys in the NBA? And then how do you feel that playing for a Hall of Fame coach in Jay Wright prepared you for the NBA?
Yeah, I think it just gives a lot of credit to Jay Wright and how he develops his players and kind of engraves that mindset of playing hard for 40 minutes, doing all the little details, giving yourselves up for your team to lead to team success. So I think Coach Wright, for the 2 years I was there, did a great job in developing me as a person off the court, which is most important, but then also being the best player I possibly can be for the team. So I just give all the credit to Jay Wright and how he approaches the game.
Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to have Sam present the jerseys, guys. One by one.
Where are we doing? We go this way. There you go.
Hold on to that, Josh. Hang on to that. We're going to do a group photo at the top at the end.
A little tighter.
Stand up, get a shot of everyone together. Your jerseys. Great. Shot. Great. Flip it around. Oh, my fault. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all for attending. Great seeing everyone. And that is a wrap.
And some big smiles on that stage, understandably so, as the 2021 Thunder draft class gets introduced by the organization and introduced to the media and fans on Valley Sports Oklahoma, maybe online. We welcome you back with Michael Cage. I am Chris Fisher, and Michael, that had to be a lot of fun for these youngsters in this young draft class, getting an opportunity coming here to Paycom Center, having the media talk to them, getting to tell a little bit more about themselves as we continue to learn about them from draft night on Thursday. Some great nuggets coming out, like Jeremiah Robinson-Earl talking about getting the call from his agent when he was at a steakhouse in Chicago and how much that meant to him. Aaron Wiggins saying it is a dream realized. And Trey Mann talking about who he models his game after. So some great nuggets coming out of there. But going back to the original theme that Sam Presti mentioned at the top of the press conference, this is a draft class that embodies Oklahoma City. It embodies this organization. It embodies the Thunder in the sense that it is very hardworking, it is high character, and it is high value.
Well, and I just thought that they just look comfortable. I mean, this is a big moment in their life. Their lives have changed tremendously as of Thursday night. This is another turning point for them to be up on that stage, and we're talking about a couple of 20-year-olds, who I thought answered some pretty good questions. And I don't know if I was 20 years old, I could kind of like answer some of those questions like they were answering, but they looked very comfortable. They looked like they were prepared to be here. This is, they understand what they're getting into. Just to, everybody be on the same page, recognizing, the hard work that's required, that they're going to have to put in for the next couple of months, getting ready for training camp, and really, just kind of more or less having that kind of approach already as really young players.
All right, I think that we are going to be able to get a couple of interviews here as Nick and Paris are going to try to track down some of these draft picks, some of these young players. And let's send it over to Nick and Paris, who are standing by with Josh Giddey and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl.
Thank you very much, Chris. And let's just start with you guys. We saw you holding up those jerseys. How did that feel? Number 3, number 50. What was that like up there for you?
I mean, it's a special moment. You dream of this being an NBA player your whole life, and this is kind of where it becomes real. You get that jersey, you get the press conference. So, to hold that jersey and have that Thunder there is a special moment for me and for all the guys.
Anything behind that number 3 for you?
Look, my number was 6 originally, but it wasn't available, so I just went with something low, and 3 was what was available.
Well, but what about you? What was that moment like, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's just really surreal, just knowing all that work is finally paying off to start this new career in the NBA, and just being a part of a team that believes in us as rookies and coming in, and we're just able to work and just become the best team we possibly can be.
I'm curious, I want to take you back just a little bit farther. What have the last 48 hours been like for both of you? Obviously, you're in the draft. You don't know where you're going to get picked, who's going to call your name. What have the past 48 hours been like from then to now?
They've been crazy, just being in the steakhouse one night, then getting the call about being on a team, being around my family, my inner circle, just being there with people that truly love me for who I am, and it's just been crazy, honestly. Like, there really isn't words to describe it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and just being able to embrace it and just enjoy as much as you can is the most important.
And Josh, obviously, you were in the Barclays Center, and you had the opportunity to celebrate with your family. What were those hours like for you?
Look, I mean, he said it pretty well. It's surreal. When Adam walks out to the stage, you're just thinking, is this going to be my name? And I was sitting there just, wondering when I was going to get called. And when he calls your name, you kind of black out and you don't really feel much. And I was just shocked for a second. Then you get up, you kind of embrace everyone. And it all happened so quickly. I barely remember walking up on stage and shaking his hand. So the whole process is fun. And that's the point where, your life changes forever. So to hear your name called is really something special.
One thing that stood out to me just about the press conference was he talked about all you guys as just basketball players, basically. You know, not necessarily set into one track as a player. What did that mean to you, and as you think about your games, the way that you can impact things?
Yeah, I mean, being a good person off the court is such a big part of having a good, sound organization. I think that's what Sam really empowers, is having good dudes, and I think we have a bunch of them on this team. And I mean, it's a big part of for a culture purpose going forward, and it's a young team, so hopefully this can be something special, leading into the success in the coming years.
And Jeremiah, something that you mentioned was your defensive rebounding. That's not usually something that guys beat their chest about, but being a versatile defensive player is something that seems to be really important to you.
Absolutely. Being able to guard 1 through 5, if there's guys bigger than me, which there will be, being able to defend them in the mid-post, lower post, perimeter, being able to guard dynamic guards out on the perimeter as well, just important to being able to guard all positions. And I think that's something all 4 of us can do as rookies right away, is being able to guard multiple positions, which is really important going out there on any given night, being able to guard really dynamic players.
Kind of along those same lines, while everybody in this draft class comes with different skills, different talents, one thing that Sam pointed out was your hard work and your work ethic. Where does that come from for you guys individually?
I would say my mom, just as a single parent, just raising me to be a great young man, and just seeing the things she sacrificed for her, so that she sacrificed for me. So just being able to see that on a day-to-day basis, how much hard work she displays for me, it really means a lot, and I want to do that for her.
What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, similar. I mean, to get to this point, you have to work. So, I mean, it's a kind of no-brainer. But my parents sacrificing and giving up so much of their time for mine, and essentially changing their lives in order for me to have a better one. Was so beneficial and can never be repaid. But I mean, the sacrifices they've made is I guess what's got me here.
Last thing I've got for both you guys, Josh, you mentioned Summer League coming up, that you're already got that circled on your calendar. What are you looking forward to the most about being able to get out there?
Just playing basketball. I mean, it's been a long time for me since I played a game, so to get out there with this group, I'm really excited for it. I mean, it's a young team, so we're going to be together for the first time, a lot of us, and I'm really excited to get out there and play against other teams and rookies and stuff like that. So I think we've got a really, really good crop of guys coming in, and the guys that we'll have coming back from last year. It's going to be a special group, so I'm looking forward to playing with them.
Yeah, and Jeremiah, the draft's on July 29th. August 8th is the start of Summer League. What are your thoughts just about this quick turnaround and getting the opportunity to just get right back out there?
I mean, I think it's awesome. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's once in a lifetime. You just got to soak in everything. You just got to enjoy the process and enjoy everything that comes with it.
Thank you guys both so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and good luck moving forward. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Oklahoma City.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll send it back over to Chris and Michael. Thank you very much, guys.
Well, Josh Giddey might have been the most enthusiastic draftee on Thursday night, and I think a little bit of that enthusiasm might have spilled over here on Saturday, Michael.
Well, no question about it. I mean, you talk about the quick turnaround, and all of a sudden now you get a chance to not just, talk with Adam Silver for a minute and take a picture. You actually get to take some questions and, kind of, have your other 3 teammates here to kind of, exhale between questions and talk about how you really feel, instead of sometimes when you get drafted, you're shocked, and then they say you got to speak while you're being shocked. I thought that was kind of neat to see them all speak about, this transition here to Oklahoma City, what it took to get here. They all seem to have the same message of the family support. Their mom, their dad, it's just talking about that journey and how they were a part of that, and and that they were here today, where things are a little bit more relaxed than they were, in New York.
Well, you heard a lot of dreams coming true and dreams realized on Thursday night, but this is just step one in what these draftees hope is a very long journey and very long careers in the NBA. We should mention, Michael, that Summer League is expected to take place. That'll be in August 8th through the 17th. So hoping to maybe get some of these young players in action. If you don't want to see them in training camp, maybe getting a glimpse just prior to. Summer League will be going on in Vegas. And then, of course, training camp will be getting going in the very beginning of October. And the very first preseason game for OKC, as the preseason schedule did come out, that'll be on October 4th. Here in OKC, so I know we're very much looking forward to that.
Absolutely, I always enjoy going out to Las Vegas. We always go out there and be able to watch the young guys that you saw here this afternoon, kind of get their feet wet. Take the car for a test drive. And mom and dad said it's okay. You're not joyriding. You're just having fun. And, that's always the first NBA moments a lot of these guys get. I think Nick Gallo just pointed out real quickly, it's a quick turnaround. August 8th you just mentioned, and you get drafted, July 29th. Not a whole lot of time to get ready to be playing against NBA talent, because it's not just about the first-year players. There's second- and third-year players that would be out there in Las Vegas. So just to get, prepped for that is even a big challenge.
Getting Summer League this year better than no Summer League last year. I think that's something that we learned. But we want to thank everybody for watching on Bally Sports Oklahoma, as well as all of you on OKCThunder.com. And, of course, stay tuned for all your Thunder news on OKCThunder.com as we lead in to the start of the regular season. It's coming quickly. It's right around the corner tonight, and Thursday was just one step. So we thank you for watching. For our director, Eric Date, for Paris Lawson, Nick Gallo, Michael Cage, I'm Chris Fisher. We cannot wait for the regular season to start. Until then, stay tuned on OKCThunder.com, and thanks for watching.